Yo, yo.
Hello, hello.
What's up, my brother? How are you today?
Man, I'm doing wonderful, brother. Wonderful. You looking
Nice
sharp.
nice shirt choice.
I'm saying that's that Hugo. Anyway, man, let's get to it. Hello and good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to episode 2 of the Ebony, Mind, Body, and Soul. Where we discuss our thoughts from our perspective, and most importantly, in a fair, contextual, and in a safe space. I am Kainon Jasper. I'm one half of the Doc and the Dude, and joining me is my brother, Dr. Kendell Jasper. He is the Doc, and I am the Dude. So, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. I'm excited. We have some very intriguing guests, for episode 2. Very similar to episode 1. Gonna give us a wide range of thought, perspective, information. I think that's gonna be valuable to the folks that are watching and listening. Those that will later be able to watch. So I'm excited, bro. I can't front. I'm excited, Kay.
Okay.
You see it on my face?
I see it.
Okay.
Jumping in with us tonight are two incredible men, two incredible special brothers, man. First hit making producer, like literally number one after number one after number one. He just recently created an amazing project called Truth Serum. And it's an incredible piece of art, man. Like I really be living with this one because he reveals the truth, vulnerability, and just many of those other things that it's kind of difficult for us men to talk about. You know what I'm saying? But I want him to come to the screen. I want to welcome my brother Kosine, Chicago's finest.
Gentlemen, I'm humbled and honored to be in front of such kings like yourself. You know what I mean? So thank you so much, gentlemen, for having me. You know what I mean?
Hey, happy to have you, dude. We got an amazing show. I was just sharing with Kendell and the public is how special your project Truth Serum is to me personally, and hopefully they can have a minute to live with it too. But we're gonna get into that a little bit later. Secondly, want to bring in our other guests, my other brother. Last but certainly not least, he's an incredible actor, activist, author, etc. We know him starting his career from the Cosby Show with Vanessa's boyfriend, Robert. Where all of us wanted to be on the show. And he was doing this thing. We also know him from All My Children. You got to change the channel. For your grandma, everything. You just watch All My Children. It was Terrence Fry then. He played a character, and this is my man. He played a 35 and Tick, and I was like, oh man, come on, you don't do that. You're killing us. And then he had Queen Sugar. Then I'm like, oh, he brought us back. Good, But then most importantly, man, this joint right here. Author, male versus man. Whew. This the one you just got to bring your thinking cap, your lunch box, your handkerchief, because you're going to see some things in it. Ladies and gentlemen, Dondre Whitfield.
Family, come on, man. Kane, you know how I go. Brooklyn in here. Dr. Kendell, you already know what it is. My brother Kosine, Chicago is my second home. My wife is from Chicago, so we in here, man. Let's go.
And Dre, you haven't met my younger brother yet, Dr. Kendell Jasper, but you know him now.
I know him now. If I know you, I know him.
Yeah, true story.
Yeah, no, Dre. Yeah, no.
I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, no.
No. Hey, that sound like a cigar night.
Absolutely. Like a discussion for a different time, my brother. Total discussion for a different time.
Trust me, I got it.
So I got it. We are all in.
I meant the heart.
Oh, absolutely. No. I aspire to be like him. Listen, fellas, the versatility on this screen is amazing. And I can tell you honestly, just understanding and knowing you both outside of Kainon, certainly incredible men, incredible black men. So you know, with that being said, obviously we follow a system here with the mind, body, and soul. And we want to really deep dive into the mind and understanding thought process, you know. So one question that we always ask everyone is, how do they want to be described? Who are you? What are the words that you would use to describe the person that you are?
I definitely have to say teacher, student. You know what I mean? Teacher, student, truth teller. I don't know if we were supposed to have a certain type of word, a certain amount of words we use.
But not at all. You feel, you know, less is more. Less is more sometimes. That's what that says plenty right there. You know, Dre, what about you?
Listener, speaker, teacher. I've learned how important listening is. Being, you know, married to, you know, same woman for 18 years, but being partnered together for 23 years. Like, if you don't know what being in a relationship is about as a man, the first thing that you really, the muscle that you really have to learn how to flex, you know, are your ears. Being able to be a listener. We generally tend to be pretty quick to speak, but you become a great speaker by becoming a great listener first.
Indeed. So with that, man, I see us all here. We're well, we're smiling, we're healthy. On the external, that's what we see. And I believe, through talking to you brothers, I believe that you're pretty healthy internally as well. But like you said, you're always the teacher, always the student, always the listener. So, but how important is your mental health and wellness to yourself personally and in the practices that you engage in? You know, you can go first, Dre.
Man, the mental health is probably more important than anything else. And this coming from a vegan of 5 years, and I'm 52 right now. At 46, I started feeling, you know, I played semi-pro in 3 different sports: baseball, basketball, and football. I started experiencing pain in my right knee at 46. So I just said, well, maybe this is the natural progression of things. You're starting to get a little on the older side. And so that's what it is. And then I started listening to wisdom, right? I started listening to, you know, some of our elders, which we don't practice anymore. Right. You know, this is probably the only society that really discards our elders, as opposed to celebrating them, uplifting them, listening to them, right? And so I started doing that, and I heard one of my elders say, you need to get off this, you need to get off that. I want you to start practicing, you know, being more plant-based. And for somebody who was raised completely on everything, you know, I'm from Brooklyn, but my family migrated from the South, feel me? Right. Like all of us, right? And so the practice is, if it walk, you kill it, you season it, you know, you cook it, and you eat it.
Yeah, you eat it.
So that was everything, right? So pork, beef, everything, right? And but once I started doing that, that pain in my knee began to dissipate to the extent that it completely disappeared. And once that happened, I was done. There was no more going back after that. And then the mental health is, you know, we see when you get to see these images every single day of brothers that look like us being demonized, marginalized, even killed, it wears on you mentally. So our mental wellness is extremely important beyond just our physical wellness.
Well, Coach, I definitely want you to follow up on that, because you express yourself. Dondre expresses himself in one way through, you know, visual and literary and stuff, and you're literary too. Yours is just maybe a little bit more melodic. But tell me about that. Tell me about your.
I'm really aligned right with him. You know what I mean? For me, it was the seafood and the pork. You know what I'm saying? Crab legs, shrimp, oysters. You know what I'm saying? I was going crazy on the shellfish. and the pork as well, you know. And it's interesting because for me, it was just tapping in the Bible study one day, man, and being in Leviticus. And Leviticus is usually the book that I pretty much avoided that book for about a good 20 some years, the whole book, because I ran into it like freshman year of high school and was like, oh, wait, time out. You know what I'm saying? Left it for about 20 years. But then I also realized from my spiritual journey, you know, as we're talking about mental health, you know, this is a huge part of my personal mental health is getting in that book. And as I began to study all these different religions, you know, whether it's Christianity, whether it's Muslim, everybody was running back to Torah. You know what I'm saying? What's Torah? Torah is the first 5 books of the Bible. Right. You know what I'm saying? And the definition of Torah is instruction. So I just from a grown man perspective, I had noticed how the Most High kept raising me up and putting me in these settings around other kings. And when it came to talk about music or girls or comedy or shoes or fashion, I know everything. But then at one point, the conversation was like, yo, who is the holiest man in the Bible? Who you think? And everybody going around the room, and I'm light in the conversation because I'm not well read, bro. I never read it for real. I was raised in the church, but I didn't decode it. You know what I'm saying? And by just taking that time, that's the cool part about not having a real job ever in life. You have this opportunity of leisure to just read and educate. And in that opportunity of leisure, I really start tapping in like, it was like revelation after revelation, like, oh, they've been getting us. My people perish because we lack knowledge. And it's literally been my whole lifestyle with my childhood homies too. Like we literally jump on Saturdays, crack open the book and just read, you know what I'm saying? As opposed to letting pastor tell us this and opposed to letting somebody else tell us this, an interpretation of that. Ain't no interpretation. We gonna get on the Zoom together as brothers, crack it open together and read together.
You know, that's go ahead, Ken.
I think that it's important, right? It's especially for someone like myself, it's very important that brothers share their strategies, right? I think that someone comes see someone like myself, right? I don't necessarily always want to give them the answers. I'm not here to give you the answers. I think it's important that we learn from each other and we hear those strategies from brothers such as yourselves or others who can say, listen, I tried this or I tried that, because there's somebody that listening that has a level of respect for both of you that says, hey, you know what? I hadn't tried that. And maybe that's something that I'm willing to try, or they hear it a little different. But what's interesting is maybe y'all got the cheat code because you both mentioned something that resembles community. And we're talking a little bit, Dre talked a little bit about elders. Cole, you just talked about getting with your homies and y'all creating this sense of community. So my question is, and it's along the health and wellness path because it's related. How do we get so far removed from that sense of community? You know, how as the brothers and the elders in the community, have we gotten so far removed from continuing to be able to make that imprint or have an influence or just chop it up with the young homies to have a discussion about where we've come from and maybe where we're going?
I'm gonna, before we go in there, I want to, have you let y'all think about that for a minute. But this is live and people are asking questions and things like that. Please feel free to send your questions in. These brothers are more than willing to answer them and attend to them as best as we can. And if whatever we don't get to right now, we will, we'll get to it. You'll be able to archive and we'll get back to it. You know what I mean? But Coach, you mentioned something. You mentioned the definition of Torah and instruction. And before I volley it back to y'all, instruction that's a suggestion. It's not a command. It's a suggestion. It's an offering, right? If somebody offering up something to you, they're being generous. So the gratitude you show them is by following or at least reading, considering the instruction. Many of us now, we're not being offered instruction and we're not explaining what instruction is. We're misinterpreting it as a command and many people are going against it. But I do want y'all to orate a little bit about what Doc said.
Well, I mean, for me, I really look at it like video games, right? When I was a shorty, right? My mom come through, right? She bring home Mortal Kombat. Oh, mama, you snap. I get the video game, right? Run in my room. Take the instruction manual and fling it across the room. Turn the game on, go crazy, go crazy. Now I'm frustrated because I can't figure out how to beat certain whatever. 2 weeks, a month, sometimes 2 months later, bro, I'm cleaning up my room. I crack open the instruction manual and say, oh, press triangle to jump. All this time I've been trying to figure out how to jump, and all I have to do is press triangle, and then you just keep reading. It's all there. So for me, I just, the Most High has a way of humbling you. So like I had to have hits, #1 hits, being there with Rihanna, Nicki Minaj, Justin Bieber, Nas, Ludacris. You can go look. The Wikipedia is just decorated, right? Did everything, you know what I'm saying? Grammy nominations, everything. Why am I not fulfilled though? What is this? What is this? Did nobody say I was gonna kill all of this and do all this? And now as I'm on the red carpet at the Grammys, I'm broken inside, bro. I'm crushed. And I'm about to approach in 2015. That was the beginning of the lowest moment of my life. And at that moment, I gave up. All right, God, you know what? I don't even know nothing no more. Order my steps. You know what? As a matter of fact, when I'm praying, if you don't want me to have it, I don't even want to have it. How about let's just start with that? So I don't even know no more. And when I began to humble myself, bro, relax, Kosine. You're not as fly as you thought you was. Relax, slow down, young fella. Then I started getting around brothers like yourself, because what brothers don't know, to your point and what you said earlier, Doc, what brothers don't know is that the most sacred relationship in life is brotherhood. We don't know that when we doing this, we're going berserk, bro. You know what I'm saying? This conversation in itself is what they don't want us to do. Mass incarceration, all kind of stumbling blocks laid out to keep us from doing this, bro.
Absolutely. So, Trey, I need you.
Yo, listen, me and this king right here, I love this brother right here. I'm getting ready to, I got so much to give him. And, real talk, like, we don't even do this no more.
Right.
Like, you feel me? I don't know if y'all see me, but, I sit here and I'm a student, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I learn from everyone and everything. I look out the window and I watch everything. And I learn from that, no matter what it is. Nature teaches me stuff all the time. So I'm just silent enough just to sit there and meditate on that. Like what Kosine is talking about, like, that's like super next level. Like, he just made my heart smile, fam, because sometimes I feel like, I'll give you an example. There's a brother that many people may not know, but I coach a bunch of people in this area. And so I got a brother that I've coached for the better part of 3 years. He's won 8 Grammys, had chemical addiction, alcohol addiction, infidelity in his marriage. And I simply asked him one day, we were sitting in his office, and I said, question. So he got studious on me. I said, do you consider yourself to be successful? And he looked at me. Well, yeah. And I could tell, the Grammys is all on the walls. The crib is like 13 million. Catalog sold for over 100 million. So he's like, are you bananas yet? Yeah. So he said yes. So I said, So I wrote down on my pad. And I said, right. And he's like, what? Don't you consider me successful? And I said, well, let me ask you. Let me just throw out a couple other things. Your wife wants to leave you. 4 children in your house are not interested in you being their father. You have another child across country who you are really detached from, uninterested in reconciling with you. And you have no idea what your family life is going to look like. Do you consider yourself to be successful? And he stopped. and sat with that.
Right.
And said, no. And I said, right. I said, you are accomplished.
Yeah.
Your Grammys say, this says you are accomplished.
That's what it
You
says.
have accomplished a great deal in the world of music, but a successful man finds balance in both his professional and personal life. So when Brother Kosine said, I'm sitting on the red carpet and I'm like, I am crushed. What is that? Many of our folks don't understand that they when you come from the hood, like many of us do, and you are unhappy, you begin to equate your unhappiness with lack of finance, right? When you buy a new pair of shoes, like say you go get a new pair of J's, you get a shot of dopamine and you're like, oh, this feels good.
Yeah.
So you get fooled into thinking that if I get millions of dollars, I'm going to be happy because look what just happened when I bought this new thing. But here's the thing, that high wears off
Very fast.
Quickly, right? I tell people that acting is my passion, but activation is my purpose. So when I wrote Male versus Man, I'm walking out in my purpose. I don't care if I do another television show, movie again in my life.
So, whoa.
Ever.
Stop right there, because now I need you to go into this dynamic.
Yes, because this right here is going to open up a bunch of people, fam.
Male versus man.
Yes, sir.
Explain this dynamic. You and
Males,
I about it.
yes. We've been
brothers. Let's go.
I wish we would have recorded that.
Right.
But anyway.
Yeah, but y'all on together. We want to hear it. We want to hear it. We want to hear it. Me and Coach want to hear it.
So males look to be served while men look to be of service. When you are born, your birth certificate says either male or female. It doesn't say man or woman. Why? Because when the Most High sent you, when God sent you, he sent you in a particular package. So when they examined you, they looked to see if you had a pulse, and they looked to see if you had a penis. And that put you in the category of male. So God chose you to be male, but he required you to choose whether you were going to matriculate into a man. Male is my gender, man is my job. That's what I do. What we're doing right now, this is manhood. We're building each other. The other night when we were together, Kane, we were like, yo, man, this is what we do. We build.
Right.
My talk show, I'm getting ready to shoot my pilot. On my talk show, I talk about we were all born to be great. Very few of us are ever built for that greatness.
Right.
So the question becomes, are you built for what you're born for?
Let's do it.
You don't become a man when you turn 18. That's a birthday. That's cake.
Let's do it.
You don't magically turn into this. You need information. Look, Brother Kosine said Torah, right? Which means instruction. So the question becomes, have you received the information and okay, let's get basic. Name me any dope basketball player you ever saw in your life. Magic Johnson, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, name them all. They all had some very specific things in common. And that one thing really that they had in common was, even when they had natural talent, they had a coach. That's right. To give them information, instruction, and then accountability. So they all became great basketball players because of those three things. So if we already know it takes information, instruction, and accountability to make you a great basketball player, why is it that we think we don't need those three things to make us a great man? Why is that?
True.
Because nobody ever tells us that.
Coach, let me.
Yeah, but it kind of gets back, and I'm not trying to get my question answered because y'all are answering the question, right? But that coach is part of that community, right? Somebody has to exist in that system, in that community.
We are the coaches,
us, right? To engage us, to let us know, hey, listen, I'm gonna model some of this to you, so I'm gonna show you some of this, right? Without even talking to you, you're just gonna follow my lead or my instruction through your eyes, right? You're gonna watch me, and then you're also gonna listen, because me being able to watch sometimes, especially for us, because most black folks from the show me state, right? Yep. You got to show me that you can do this before I begin to listen to you, right? And sometimes it doesn't always work that way. It shouldn't always work that way.
I hear you. I feel you.
In that space.
Coach, I feel you.
Yeah. So this is the thing, right? Because y'all are 100% on it, right? But I speak on behalf of the younger brothers, right?
Yeah.
Younger brothers, young men out there, you have to be accountable, and you have to go seek a mentor. Go find him. The excuse of I didn't have. Nah, I can say when I was having conversations with Kainon, he didn't know. But in my mind, I'm staying close to this brother right here. She, it was certain days when I get in certain rooms, certain studios, you know what I'm saying? I'm finally in a no ID session. I'm finally in a Kanye. I'm finally in a Timbaland session. I'm a fly on the wall. I'm ready to sweep. I get something off the whatever it is you need. Humble yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like young brothers, like the mortality rate for us young brothers, we the first ones to get off the chessboard. So anytime you talking to an older brother, a brother over 40, a brother over 50, that man is a miracle, first and foremost. Without even knowing what he's done or what he's accomplished, he's still breathing in a country that is trying to kill him. Has systematic things in place trying to kill this black man. When you get in tune with one of them, a good brother right there, you stay close to him. Yeah. You help him out. You see how can you be of service. You know what I mean? And soak up the game through osmosis.
Kosine, you have a song on your album called Change, right? And what was that? Shirley Caesar. She was the original vocalist.
LaShawn Pace Rhodes. LaShawn Pace Rhodes.
Man, but the song is incredible, right? And it was gospel. It was gospel inspired. Well, it still is gospel, but you made a transition on it, right? But tell me about that. Tell me what made you go in that direction.
So Changed is back to 2015. You know what I mean? So 2003, lowest moment of my life. I'm 20 years old. I lose my mom, right? I was raised as the only child. My father was in the 1968 Olympics, but he wasn't around raising me. We got cool once I got older. Met him, buried the hatchet. It was I love you till he passed away a few years ago as well. 2015 was the year I was nominated for Rap Song of the Year with Nicki Minaj, Anaconda. Didn't win at the Grammys, and then everything fell apart. You know, everything goes in storage. I done messed up the bag. You know, I was out here having way too much fun. You know what I'm saying? Indulging in things that's not Chicago or Panama or anything that is how I was raised. I was out here how you would deem wilding, right? Then my family, you know, Viva Panama, salute to the Panamanians that came out and was like, it was like being a baseball player in the game when the coach walked up to the mound like, all right, buddy, hand me that ball, fam. Yeah, we bringing in the righty. We're going to need the righty now. All right, sit your ass. Time to sit your ass, right? Going back to Chicago in that timeout was the best thing that ever happened to me. You know what I'm saying? Because I was able to go home and rinse the Hollywood sauce off my body and get that detox and turn back into Marcos. You know what I'm saying? And be around the Panamanians. They like, oh, Marco, we so happy that you're home, Marco. You want some arroz con pollo? You know what I'm saying? Like I was able to really just be back in what made me who I am. And so when it came to making this album, there's one thing as far as like digging to find samples, is another thing to play instruments, but it's another thing like my brother was saying a second ago, when you just meditating on it. And I'm thinking about growing up, listening Sunday morning, getting ready for church, WGCI playing, my mama playing all gospel, and this record, you know I've been changed. And so I grabbed that as the sample, right? And it's funny because I played it for Rick Ross in Atlanta. And this man smoked 2 blunts to the beat and kept playing it over and over and over again. I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to get on a Rick Ross album. I'm about to get on Rick Ross. Is happening. Rose, it's the moment, right? And I also said to myself in this moment, if he don't follow up with me and pick this beat, I'm putting this on my album because I know at least it's hard. You know what I'm saying? Right. And he definitely didn't follow up, and I didn't give him a chance to. You know what I'm saying? I put that on the album and got on there and got active. You know,
that brings me to a point. It's not even a word. I'm just a symbol. Shh. Shh. Right? Everybody knows what that means. That means be quiet. Be quiet, be still. Many of us are living too loud. We living so loud that when that inner voice begins to talk to us, we can't even hear it. When that soul, when God, Allah, whatever you call that your entity is speaking to you through your soul, you can't even hear it because you're living too loud. So what does shh mean to you, Dre? What does it mean?
Literally, fam, I got it written right here. Like as a vegan, I also practice fasting. So I do intermittent fasting. I also, not just with my food, I fast with my mouth. So there are times literally during the course of the day, as a speaker, I speak often. I'm being asked to disseminate information, but when is the time where I'm receiving, right? Particularly on a spiritual level. The devil, you can hear the devil sitting inside a studio. If Kosine we were in the studio with Kosine and he was playing everything on 10, you could still hear the devil because the devil speaks loud. God don't speak to you like that. God gonna come in here and whisper it to you and talk to you like this. Now, how you gonna hear that when everything around you is so loud? In order for you to really hear God and hear with clarity, you gotta be quiet. You gotta calm yourself down. You gotta turn off the phone, shut everything off. What I try to do when I'm in that state, I try to look out and I try to see nature. I try to see God's creation. Meditate on God's creation, which brings me closer to God, and then I can hear the downloads. And I'm telling you, whenever you get a thought that's not really your own, that's not you anymore, that's God. What I have learned how to do as a man, as a righteous man, not necessarily a religious man, because that's different, but as a righteous man, I have learned how to submit what comes to me spiritually. Particularly when it goes against what my flesh wants to do. That's when I really know that that's God. So if my flesh says, look, Kane, you know what it is.
Yeah.
If I go walk down the street and a cat bumps into me and he don't reconcile that quickly, Brooklyn Dre is activated and I want to take him to the chin. Feel me? Because that's my flesh.
Yeah.
Well, my spirit is like, how do you know what this brother's story is? How about this brother's father passed away a year ago and he don't even know what manhood is? Maybe what he's looking for in this moment is a brotherly connection. So maybe what you could actually be doing is activating a new man with a different type of connection, rather than, because anybody could throw their hands up. I mean, some of them, I was just getting ready, you man, shut up. You literally, like, this is why I love you, because we like, I was just getting ready to make the point. Some of us Some of us not so well, right? So I know how to throw my hands well, but in the end, what does that do? If I put this man on his back,
right,
what does that do for me? What does that do to him?
right.
As a righteous man now, I'm looking down at my brother who's on his back. What did I do? Did I build my community or did I help to further destroy it?
Kendell.
So our job is to be able to do the opposite of that.
I got a psychological theory on that, right? Our souls have been suppressed for so long, right? As a people, as Black men, that we feel underrepresented, right? And feeling suppressed and underrepresented leads to overrepresentation, right? Because it has to come out in some form of you overrepresenting yourself somewhere, some level of excess, right? So often for us, it's about tangible things, right? We want to be gaudy because we've been suppressed for so long. You grow up impoverished, right? You're suppressed. Educationally, you're suppressed. Your ability to express yourself, you're suppressed, right? Legally, you're suppressed. It leads to some form of saying, when I made it, it's like putting your flag in the ground like, ninja, I made it. And I want y'all to know and understand that I made it to a point that I'm going to overrepresent myself. And sometimes that's a slippery slope because it's hard to find your way back, right? You wander so far off the path, you don't recognize yourself, right? You thought these things were associated with success. You thought these things would lead to a healthier and a happier lifestyle for you. But you know what you can't run from? You can't run from this. You can't continue. You can't run from those suppressed thoughts. You can't run from feeling less than yourself, even when everybody else thinks that you've reached the mountaintop. So that suppression leads to you feeling like, listen, I'm going to overrepresent myself. I'm going to go out here and get 30 cars, 30 chains. And that's how I'm going to live, because I'm going to show y'all that I made it, because I have never had this before. And I don't know how to react. I don't know how to respond. Maybe I don't have somebody from the community around me to hold my hand and say, listen, young brother, that's not the way, right? Let me turn you on to something else. So now you're struggling with the idea that I don't know how to find peace in this space because it's moving too fast.
Well, Kendell, I know many of us, all of us here are music lovers. You know, one of us here is a professional musician. You know, I don't know if y'all know, but Kosine, he doesn't just produce records. He actually is a musician. He plays multiple instruments.
Yeah, I'm sitting here literally. I'm playing my saxophone yesterday. It's so crazy because like you don't really think about it, but like your lip be about to fall off, fam. You know what I'm saying? You play for hours. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting there, I've got the chapstick right here trying to stay in it, but like as a saxophonist, and I'm about to go to the studio tonight. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, bro, the lip be kind of crazy.
What I was going to ask you is this, man. Like when you hear music, and you, as a musician, you know music sends out a particular vibrations, because that's how we receive things, through vibration. And we know that you can actually influence a certain behavior with certain vibrations. As a musician and as a producer who's worked with so many artists, what's your conversation on trying to remind them of that capabilities within music?
Yo, that's such a crazy, that's like a brilliant question. That's such a brilliant question, because as I've been collecting wisdom, my process in the studio has evolved and transcended. Whereas 2011, right, when I'm doing Big Sean, Club Bangers, Rihanna, I'm only trying to tear the walls, the paint off the walls with my 808, so that when it come on, you can't think. Because when you're trying to break into the music industry, you're trying to break in, you literally have to have an urgent sound to make someone at the label say, you know what? I know I got this budget, I got all my plans for how I'm going to spend this money, but this sound from this kid over here is undeniable, and we would be remiss, you know what I'm saying, if we left this off the album. So the sound has to be urgent, sometimes sonically violent, you know what I'm saying, to really jump in. Now that I'm tapped into wisdom, and I learned this too in 2015 when my bag wasn't all the way right, I was like, dang, it's crazy, you know, beats don't go number one, songs do. So when Pharrell released Happy, written by, produced by, performed by Pharrell, I was like, damn. And I thought about my first gold single, Mims, Move If You Wanna, produced by me, chorus written by me, and performed by me. So from a publishing standpoint, you know, I owned, on paper, it would be like 75%. I did the track and I wrote the chorus. You know what I'm saying? There's this 25% that I'm leaving out as far as finishing a record, which is how I evolved into an artist to really start pushing myself to finish the job, Kosine. This is called isolation basketball. This is one-on-one boxing. Go in that room with that quiet and do the whole thing. And by like becoming a 360 artist, when I get in the room with the artist, it's made me a better producer, because now I know it's about what you want to say, and I know that this is about high level messaging. So I'm tapped in. I'm asking you about your life. This project I'm working on with a brother from the East Coast right now. He went through a breakup. He came in the studio, and by me having the top of mind now to know to talk to this brother, hear his heart. If we making soul music, you gotta listen and tap into this brother's soul to make soul music. And when I'm talking to him, he going through a crazy breakup. So I know that he needs to have this, you know, this music that's gonna help push him through. And man, when you listen to the album, when you listen to this music, you don't just hear it, you feel it. You know what I'm saying? You putting that truth in it.
Yeah, I remember hearing something like that one time. I was watching this documentary, and they were talking about the Al Green song, Love and Happiness, right? And everybody remembers the guitar riff at the beginning, you know. Yeah. But nobody understands that the person that carried that song was the drummer. What happened was the drummer got into an argument with his woman, a major argument with his woman earlier that day. And they couldn't call him off the drums. The snare and the drums are so angry and heavy. The drum is the only instrument that plays throughout the whole song, and he has two solos. You know, they were saying they shot so many takes of this song, recorded so many takes, but he couldn't let up off the drum. It's so ironic that it's called Love and Happiness, but the carrier of the song is a very angry tone. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of interesting. So, great.
I got a song with Nas called Nas the Don, right?
Uh-huh.
And one of our managers was working with Nas at the time, and he's like, yo, I got this idea that Heavy D gave to Salam Remy for Nas, but it's just the sample and the bass line and Nas's verse. And I was thinking about sending it to, I'm not even gonna say the other producer name to finish it, right? And he says this in front of me. So I'm like looking at my partner like, yo, what's wrong with this cat? Yo, like, what's wrong with this? So he's like, oh man, my bad, coach. Yeah, I'll give you the files. You can take a stab at it, but I'm hot now. Now I'm already hot. Then I tell my other manager about the situation, and she's like, well, Kosine, you know, your beats are kind of shiny, you know. I mean, like, you know, you do hit radio, and I'm just like, oh, E2 Brutus. E2 Brutus. You know what I'm saying? So when you listen to Nas the Don, New York girls and I'm out to that way, like them, it's the dirtiest, most hood, you know what I'm saying, ugliest drums I could find, bro, for Nas in this record, yo.
That's what's up. Now,
Four brothers on the phone, and somebody says E2 Brutus. Boy, I love it.
Brutus.
I love it. I love it. Listen, man, we all over the map.
Knowing how much you give to your craft, how do you bring yourself out of character and get back to yourself?
It's simple, man. As soon as they say cut, I cut. It's over. It's a wrap. Like I said earlier, if I never do another acting job again in my life, I'm good, because acting is just my passion, bro. It's not my purpose. When God created me, he didn't create me to be an actor. That's what I chose for myself.
Right.
When God created me, the intention behind my creation was to be a servant. So the service that I use acting to acquire a platform that suits my purpose. So the things that I teach through my male versus man messaging and all of that, folks would never have listened to me if I hadn't had the platform that I acquired from my acting.
Right.
So
now, let me interrupt you very briefly.
Yep.
Because I want you to stay in this moment.
Yep.
And tell me what your ebony moment, what your about your contribution to culture. I know this is definitely one of them. And everyone, y'all gotta please pick this up for your sons too. Like, but go ahead. Your ebony moment that makes you proud, and it's your contribution to culture.
For me, just teaching our folks that, look, we were meant to live this life high. If we weren't meant to do that, then we wouldn't be able to create the neurotransmitters that give us the hit of dopamine that we get whenever we do something and it has impact on us. So interestingly enough, the impact that you make on others, the impact that impact has on you is a shot of dopamine, which gives you a high. So you are actually meant to live this life on a high. Now, here's the only question. The question is whether you are able to produce that high naturally, or you need to produce it synthetically. So if a person doesn't understand what their purpose in life is, they don't get that shot of dopamine. So they have to get it other ways. So the brother that owns 450 pairs of J's, that's his dopamine hit. And in order for him to get another dopamine hit, he got to get another pair of J's. Or I got to buy more diamonds, a bigger chain, more cars, nicer rims, whatever that thing, more Louis Vuitton, whatever that thing is, because that's my shot of dopamine. What they don't understand is the minute that they find their purpose, that dopamine hit, you'll get that all day, every day. And as soon as you understand that, that's the cheat code of life. Too many of us are living out of our passions, and those things are temporary. Your purpose is permanent. So when you live in that purpose, you get a shot of dopamine all day, every single day.
Permanent purpose.
Hey, listen, I just gotta say something, right? And I understand the purpose, but dang, Jay, why you gotta keep picking on owning J's, man? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got some J's. We all got J's, man. Damn Jordans. I just don't look. It's not about whether you own them or not, but if you got a collection that go from over there and it's up to the ceiling and come down here, and it literally is your asset game, that's a problem. I get it, but every time you say it, Kainon is like looking at me because he know you chipping away at me, baby.
Yeah,
like,
I'm sitting over there.
I'm like, oh,
Jordan monster.
Man, can we talk about something else? Like,
well, Coach, let's talk about your ebony moment, your contribution to culture.
Oh man, I mean, without a doubt, it's my album. You know what I mean? It's the album. Yes. Truth Serum is 100% my ebony moment, because that's my soul. You know what I'm saying? Wrapped up in audio healing. You know, that is gonna outlive myself. You know, and it's gonna it's something that when my sons get older, you know, I did this song Kings, and I put their birthdays and their names in Hebrew on the cover art. You know, and then riding through LA with my son, listening to it and being able to look at him like, you know, this is dedicated to you and your brother. You know what I'm saying? You know, I love you. And just being able to have that moment of like, man, just to me, that's generational wealth. You know what I mean? Like from an audio soul music place, but even from an asset place. You know what I mean? Like, son, your daddy has original copyrights to pass on to you. You know what I mean? I wrote these songs day and night. I stayed in the studio. I missed certain occasions so that you could have this though, son. You know what I mean? And this is something that my pops didn't give to me. So, you know, it's legacy building right now. That True Sim, the album, is a gazillion% my ebony moment.
Yes, yes, it is, man.
Well, listen, Kay, I'm not gonna let you off the hook, right? You asked a lot of questions. I'm gonna ask you, what's your ebony moment? You asking all these questions. What's your ebony moment, brother?
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
Tap in. Tap in.
I wasn't ready for that, but I'll tell you what. Since I was a very young man, I always said that I wanted to serve my community a lot in the way that our father did. You know, I really had I have a great man to look up to, and I saw his influence on not just his own children, but a greater community. I saw how people respected him. I saw how he would come to the aid and definitely teach a lot of people. And that was something I said, man, I want to be looked at like that. Because everywhere I went, so I went to the basketball court, when I went to the dojo, when I'm on my way to school to and from, everybody would say, yo, how's your father? You know, how's your mother? Yo, your father's a real dude, man. Your father's a great man. And I wanted those things said about me. So I was like, man, I got to prepare myself so that I could be of service to people. And people would say things like that to my son. And, you know, lo and behold, they do that all the time. You know, my sons always come to me and like, Dad, you know, such and such came, they said to tell you what's up and this, that, and the third. And now I know how to also build with brothers who are just like me. That's how I met Kosine and Dondre. Like, we were drawn to each other. Men who really want to help and build a stronger community will be drawn to each other, and we will begin to build. So I think my contribution is my ability to mobilize some of these relationships and somehow put them in a position where we can elevate and you know, and put the message out a little bit.
Dope.
There it is. All right, Doc, take us home, Doc.
You know,
Right.
I'll tell you a personal kind of journey. And, you know, when I was in school and I was trying to finish up becoming a doctor, I had many days that I wanted to give up. Right? I had many days that I said, listen, this isn't for me. The environment isn't right. All of my homies out here doing great things, you know, in all kind of ways, getting paper that I wasn't getting. And I was sacrificing. And, you know, I met a student on campus. And, you know, he told me an interesting fact. He said, you know, I looked up psychology and psychologists. And do you realize that there are only 150 doctorate level clinical psychologists in the country? And he said, if you finish, brother, you'll be 151. And I realized in that moment that my journey wasn't just about me. It was about me being 151 so there could be 152, 153, 154, and so on and so on. And understanding that from a community standpoint, I wanted to be able to make an imprint. And I wanted to leave this place better than it was when I got here. So I recognized in that moment that becoming Dr. Kendell Jasper wasn't just about Kendell Jasper. It was about Kendell, it was about Kainon, it was about Sean, it was about Al, it was about Rovina, it was about Kiana, it was about Cameron, it was about Caleb, it was about Cohen, and so on and so on. Because what we have to take on is the responsibility of saying this community is ours. And we have to do a job that lets everyone know we're going to hold ourselves accountable first and look towards, you know, the message, the importance, the help, the care, the love, the ridicule, and all the things that come with being a trailblazer. So I think that was my ebony moment.
So
I love it. Love it.
Crazy.
I love it.
150, man.
yeah,
150, brother.
That's crazy, bro. I can't even. I'm like, my mouth was agape. I was like, that's a staggering little statistic right there, fam.
you know what's interesting. Kendell, when he was having one of those moments, I remember having a conversation with him, and because he could have kept on playing basketball if he had eligibility left, and he was like, "Yo, what you want me to do? You want me to continue playing basketball?" And I was like, well, in my mind, I was like, Kendell, I know we got tons of NBA players. We played with them, played against them. So you know how many doctors I know? He was like, I said, none. I ain't know none. Yeah, I am a grown man. Outside of going, I ain't no one. I did not know one doctor, you know. And Coach, you from Chicago, Dre, you from Bushwick, we from East New York. Man, we need to see us when we are young people to know that we can be us. Now, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
collectively, that's our ebony moment. Yeah.
That just resonated with me because when I first got out here, the first thing that I did was abandon playing the saxophone because I was trying to fit in and be cool. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think you could be cool and play saxophone. Then I watched Masego and Terrace Martin steal my life. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, you know what I mean? Like, so now I've been playing like crazy these last years, just trying to get it back because the things that make us unique are the things that we need to lean into. You know what I mean? You like, man, this over here, this space is overcrowded. You know, this is a space where you can go that we don't normally even get in that space. Like, be that one. You know what I mean? And I feel like just to the people that's tapped in, that's watching this, it's okay. I know it's a lonely road. You know what I mean? And it's tough being a trailblazer, and it's tough being ahead. And sometimes you are the smartest person in the room. And so you have to just trust your instinct and take that punishment. Oh, what you talking about? Oh, you name dropping? Blah, blah, blah. Forget that. Be that one. Be the one. You know what I mean?
We're time challenged right now, so we have to bring this to a close. I wish we didn't. Well, put it this way, we won't, because this will continue.
Yes.
You know what I mean? This will most certainly continue. But I'm going to thank you all for taking this time to jump on, man, because this information is necessary. You know, what the hits that are happening behind the digital curtain is crazy right now. And you guys, you know, I'm going to forward this information to you guys because people have questions for y'all. And, you know, these are things that I know y'all will carry on and y'all will address in y'all own, you know, social lanes and things of that nature.
Come over to my IG, man, Kosine on Instagram, Kosine, Kosine on Instagram, and on Twitter. If you put in Kosine, you're going to find me, but the handle is The Interns, DAINTERNZ. So yeah, and then I'm Dre. Amazon. Are you in LA, Dre?
Bro, I'm in New York because literally tomorrow I'm shooting the pilot of my talk show. Tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Because I was about to drive over to your house for dinner after tonight.
Yo, fam, bro, you don't even you don't even know. I was literally getting ready to text Kane and go, yo, put all of us on a chain.
Absolutely.
So we can lock in. I'm like, but this my bro. I got him.
Yeah.
Real talk. That's how we do that, bro.
Absolutely.
Fellas, done deal.
What's your IG?
All Dondre, ALLDONDRE. Twitter is at Dondre Whitfield and Facebook is at Dondre Whitfield.
All right, folks.
And real quick, obviously we are at Doc and the Dude, DOCNDADUDE, right? At Kainon _Jasper, at Dr. Kendell Jasper in all platforms. Fellas, I want to give y'all your flowers. Brilliant conversation.
Dope
and
conversation.
I don't even giving flowers, so I'd be remiss right now before we close if I didn't give a shout out to the brother Kenny Johnson here in Chicago, because he opened up the Sage Room for me to shoot today when the studio that I had canceled on me. So I just want to show the brother love. Just another
Dope.
brilliant brother. You
Yeah,
know,
that's that shot.
One time for the city. I'll be
Big
there
up
Monday.
Chi-Town.
I'll be there Monday, Chi-Town. I'm coming home.
All right, gentlemen.
Love y'all, man.
Love
Love
y'all.
y'all.
Love you, brothers. Thank you so much, man. Y'all bless me.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, peace.
What'd you think?